In the vast archipelago of Indonesia, comprising over 13,000 islands and diverse ethnic groups, Joko Widodo, commonly known as Jokowi, has emerged as a prominent leader, steering the nation away from traditional norms.
Jangan lupa pilih Jokowi.
Rising from humble beginnings, Jokowi's presidency, which began in 2014, signified a historic departure as the first head of state without ties to the political and military elite. Despite being labeled the furniture maker, his leadership style has transformed Indonesia's political landscape, presenting him as a strongman breaking away from conventional frameworks in Southeast Asia. Jokowi's hands-on governance, symbolized by the populist Blusukan, echoes characteristics associated with strongman leadership, and his economic reforms, infrastructure initiatives, and commitment to tolerance underscore his influence in shaping Indonesia's contemporary narrative. While Indonesia remains a majority Muslim country, Jokowi's strongman approach reflects political liberalism and cultural pluralism, showcasing a nation that embraces its differences under his assertive leadership. In the era of Joko Widodo's leadership, Indonesia continues to showcase that a majority Muslim country can embrace political liberalism. While respecting various faiths, the constitution recognizes and protects religious diversity. Jakarta, the capital, boasts the world's most active tweeters, and a significant portion of the population actively engages on Facebook. The narrative of Indonesia's strength lies not in authoritarianism, but in its vibrant democracy and cultural pluralism, shaping a nation that embraces its differences. The gangly son of the slums has carved his name in history as Indonesia's inaugural head of state, independent from the nation's political and military aristocracies. Merely 16 years after ousting a long-standing dictator, Indonesia witnessed the election of a president truly representative of the people. Joko Widodo, affectionately known as Jokowi, emerged victorious in the 2014 presidential election with promises to stimulate growth, attract investments, and enhance infrastructure. A remarkable feat as the first president without ties to the political and military elite. Currently serving as the 7th president of Indonesia, Jokowi's presidency embodied the aspirations of a progressive Indonesia, characterized by a leader who, as the benevolent governor of Jakarta, consulted with the underprivileged before formulating policy decisions. Hailing from a background distinct from the country's elite, he reflects on his humble origins, stating, "This narrative of resilience and perseverance resonates strongly in a political landscape traditionally dominated by the privileged." Described by Tobias Basuki, a researcher at the Indonesian think tank CSIS, as a harbinger of a new era in leadership, Jokowi embodies a departure from Indonesia's historical norms. His identity as someone from outside of the system, someone from outside the political elite, and the political oligarchy marks a transformative shift, symbolizing a refreshing and unconventional trajectory in the nation's political leadership. Jokowi's ascent to formidable political power is intriguing, as it not only introduces fresh perspectives into Indonesian political dynamics, but also challenges established frameworks and perceptions of political influence within Southeast Asia. In the region, the cultivation of power by elites typically involves the use of grand symbols, political rituals, and narratives that create a distance between them and the ordinary populace. Leaders often project an image of possessing extraordinary qualities such as eloquence, charisma, wisdom, wealth, heroism, custodianship of heritage and religion, or even embodying democracy, royalty, or divinity. The phenomenon of elevating leaders to almost godlike status is not uncommon. Figures like Cambodia's late king father Norodom Sihanouk and Thai king Bhumibol Adulyadej have been admired as demigods by millions. This constructed symbolism, with roots in the Theravada Buddhist traditions of several states in the region, plays a significant role in consolidating power for regional elites. In Burma, for instance, senior military generals have strategically employed symbols to portray themselves as guardians of Buddhism and heirs to the legacy of the country's ancient warrior kings. The influence of political figures extends beyond traditional symbols. Thailand's former Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra, despite being ousted in a military coup in 2006, continues to wield influence in Thai politics. Thaksin leveraged his eloquence, wealth, and populist policies to resonate with the poor and rural peasants in Thailand's north and northeast. Similarly, other political leaders garner popularity by symbolizing democratic ideals. Aung San Suu Kyi, leader of Burma's opposition party and daughter of the country's colonial-era national hero General Aung San, is both domestically and internationally recognized for her image as a champion of democracy. Jokowi possesses a distinctive populist flair characterized by his Blusukan approach, unplanned visits to engage directly with constituents, often focusing on the impoverished and marginalized sections of society. Joko Widodo lacked the traditional advantages of patronage. However, when he assumed the position of Solo's mayor in 2005 and later became the governor of Indonesia's bustling and chaotic capital, Jakarta, 7 years thereafter, Jokowi's leadership style became synonymous with hands-on engagement.
Apakah saudara-saudara siap memerahkan Indonesia? Siap!
He rolled up his sleeves, streamlining the process for business permits and instituting transformative changes in trash collection. His tenure witnessed improvements in public transportation and a notable expansion of hospital beds, indicative of his commitment to enhancing the welfare and infrastructure of the areas under his governance.
Terus kita rawat. Dan semoga ini menjadi infrastruktur kesehatan di NTT dengan memohon.
The legacy of President Joko Widodo as the most formidable reformer in Indonesia's history is tied to his ambitious 9-point plan. Since assuming the presidency, he has directed unwavering attention towards a comprehensive agenda aimed at uplifting the underprivileged. Key components of this plan include a staunch commitment to eradicating corruption, enhancing public services, instituting crucial land reforms, and facilitating the development of more affordable housing options. Notably, Jokowi has placed a significant emphasis on the country's infrastructure, resolutely initiating or reviving long-postponed projects focused on constructing highways, high-speed rail networks, airports, and other essential facilities.
Saya sangat senang dan juga
I am very happy, and also the Indonesian people are happy because our high-speed train is the only one in Southeast Asia.
This strategic approach reflects his dedication to fostering connectivity throughout the sprawling Indonesian archipelago, solidifying his reputation as a leader at the forefront of transformative reform efforts. Under President Jokowi's leadership, Indonesia has undergone a remarkable transformation from a recipient of aid to an emerging donor nation, marking substantial progress with some persisting challenges. The establishment of Indonesia's International Aid Agency in 2016, equipped with a budget of 1 trillion rupiah, approximately $68 million, signifies a pivotal step in this trajectory. This agency has been instrumental in extending development assistance to developing countries, particularly in areas such as disaster relief, education, and healthcare. While specific budget data is currently unavailable, Indonesia's foreign aid contributions reached $1.1 billion in 2021, surpassing the initial agency budget. Furthermore, Indonesia's active participation in UN peacekeeping missions further reinforces its dedication to global security. As of December 2023, approximately 3,400 Indonesian personnel are deployed across Africa, the Middle East, and Europe, with notable leadership roles in missions like the Garuda contingent in the UN mission in South Sudan, and contributions to the UN interim force in Lebanon.
Female peacekeepers are involved in many tasks. The role that is often carried out by our female peacekeeper women is as a health workers, men get guards, and also join in several patrols.
The humanitarian front sees Indonesia extending significant aid to Rohingya refugees who fled violence in Myanmar in 2017. Contributions encompassed vital necessities such as food, medical supplies, shelter materials, and financial assistance. While the acute phase of the refugee crisis has subsided, Indonesia remains committed to advocating for a peaceful resolution and continues to provide support to Rohingya communities in Bangladesh. Jokowi's government has been fighting to preserve tolerance amid rising religiosity. The state officially recognizes Islam, Protestantism, Catholicism, Buddhism, and Confucianism. However, conservative Muslim groups have challenged some of Indonesia's promotion of religious diversity. Jokowi has opposed increasing hardline sentiments. Jokowi, the people's president, may be the ultimate proof of Indonesia's political maturation, but like his people, he still prefers to look inward. There's the South China Sea, the vast maritime highway that China is claiming aggressively, despite competing claims by 6 other governments, including Jakarta. There's also climate change. Thanks chiefly to the highest deforestation rate on the planet, Indonesia is the 3rd largest emitter of greenhouse gases, after China and the US. The world's largest archipelago nation is also very vulnerable to the rising seawaters that could come with rising temperatures. Indonesia has a long record of budget and current account deficits, and Jokowi's efforts in cutting fuel subsidies and his tax amnesty program have helped to improve the government's fiscal space, regarded as his greatest achievement in the first 2 years of his presidency. He ended the decades-long subsidies that created a huge burden on government spending. The World Bank, along with other international institutions, had advised Indonesia to abandon its energy subsidies. With the help of low commodity prices, Jokowi's administration pushed through with the reforms. Indonesia was ranked among the worst countries to do business with according to the World Bank's ranking, and Jokowi improved the index on top priorities. With over 200 business regulations, his government has introduced 13 economic policy packages, which include reducing processing time for establishing a business, issuing permits, cutting administration costs, measures to support small and medium businesses, and fiscal incentives to attract investments. A series of reforms have generated waves of optimism that Indonesia is eager to integrate with the global economy. The reforms help the country to improve its ease of doing business index. But this is still very far behind Jokowi's goal to move Indonesia's position to 40th by the end of his first term. Another significant part of Jokowi's economic reform is the change of foreign ownership, which has helped to create more opportunities for foreign investment. With the support of Jokowi, the revised foreign ownership rules, known as the Negative Investment List, DNI, which outline the industries and to what extent foreign investment is allowed, have reduced the restricted sectors and raised the foreign ownership limit for industries such as travel, pharmaceutical, and creative. While the liberalization remains restrictive, it nonetheless demonstrates the government's commitment to further liberalize the economy and foreign access. Improvement in infrastructure has been an icon of Jokowi's administration. Suffering from a minority parliament that was dominated by opposition parties, Jokowi's administration was slow in the execution of public spending for infrastructure projects. However, over the last 12 months, Jokowi has consolidated his political power and spending has finally picked up momentum.
A world-class smart city surrounded by nature, green city with 65% forests, first carbon neutral city in Indonesia, which has world-class education and health facilities.
Last year, several big projects came underway, including a 3rd terminal opening at Jakarta's Soekarno-Hatta International Airport, the construction of a metro network system in the capital, and a high-speed railway connecting the capital to the country's West Java province. President Joko Widodo has reshaped Indonesia's political landscape, rising from humble beginnings as the first leader without ties to the elite. His strongman approach, economic reforms, and infrastructure focus signify political liberalism. Jokowi's global leadership transformed Indonesia into an aid giver, emphasizing tolerance and inclusive governance. A symbol of Indonesia's political maturity, he steered the nation towards progress and global integration.
Indonesia appealed to the US to do more to stop the atrocities in Gaza. Ceasefire is a must for the sake of humanity.